Vagabond has some of the best fights, along with plenty of some of the best and most iconic manga panels of all time. But what I consider to be the best chapter, my favorite chapter in all of Vagabond, chapter 109, really doesn't have too much of any of that. Now, I would definitely say it has one of the more appealing manga panels, but it's nothing crazy like we see in some of the other arcs. The focus of this chapter is more introspective than anything else, so it doesn't really open itself to a lot of the opportunities for these iconic panels and amazing fights. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and talk about chapter 109 from Vagabond. Now, to kind of set the scene, Musashi is climbing a mountain. His entire goal is to reach the peak of this mountain. Now, this is complete free climbing. He doesn't have any type of assistance, any type of lifeguard or anything like that. Nothing keeping him from falling to his death at any moment. But despite this being a problem for trained mountain climbers, Musashi isn't having too much trouble, but there is something holding him back. And it's not really too much of a secret or anything like that. It's his foot. There's blood constantly gushing from his foot throughout this entire chapter, and it is a focal point for him, at least for a little bit. He almost immediately voices his frustration. We do find out that he stepped on a nail earlier, and that's what's causing this pain in his foot. That's what's causing this entire mountain to be difficult. And he says, if I wouldn't have injured my foot, this mountain wouldn't even be a problem. But almost as soon as he says that, he corrects himself. He says he stepped on the nail. It's his own fault. Which is true, flashing back to whenever he first stepped on the nail, he was distracted. He was thinking about other things and didn't even notice the nail under him. There are really two main themes being brought up through this nail, and they kind of can be interpreted as the same thing, that being self-control and focus. Of course, had Musashi been not distracted, had he been focused, he wouldn't have stepped on this nail. And this, of course, plays into the constant theme of self-control throughout all of Vagabond, because in all reality, you can't be focused if you don't have self-control. But even though those are the main themes being brought up through the nail, as soon as Musashi starts climbing the mountain again, his mind almost just as immediately begins to wander, thinking specifically about the Yashioka brothers, saying that if he had fought Denshi-Chido, especially Seijido, on that day, today, that he would have lost to both of them. And then his mind moves on to the next thing that really grabs his attention, and it's the thing that always grabs his attention, the word invincible. He starts thinking about his conversation with Sekishusai, how he said that invincible was merely a word. And the word invincible managed to keep his attention for a long time while he was climbing that mountain, but eventually he finally got a grasp on the themes of the nail. Now, I'm not saying he noticed the pain in his foot and he immediately recognized that this is what the nail meant. What I'm saying is that he did eventually gain focus. He eventually got self-control again. He says to himself, don't think, you've thought enough already. And even when it comes to the word that's really stumped him for so long, the word invincible, he just says what it means to be invincible. I'll worry about that once I truly become invincible. And just to really hammer the point down that this is what he took away from the whole situation, what he ends off saying is that I just want to see what's up there, talking about at the peak of the mountain. Now, he eventually reaches the peak of the mountain, and of course free climbing is exhausting, so he's pretty ecstatic once he finally gets up there. But then he looks off in the distance and he sees multiple other mountain peaks that are twice as high as he is right now. And then Musashi interprets the mountaintops as people. Of course, Musashi is the one that he just climbed, and the ones in the distance, the ones way higher up, are people like Seijido, Denshi-Chido, and the person he's about to fight in this arc, that being Baiken. And to end things off perfectly, Musashi says, I can go as far as I want. Which is a direct reference to my favorite panel in the entire series, that being, do you see how infinite you are? But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm kind of glad this was a short one because I don't have any water with me right now. My throat is insanely dry. But thank you guys for watching, and I'm out.